Okay, so for my fifth one here, it asks, is SCl2 polar or non-polar? So first off, so chlorine, we're going to start off by drawing our Lewis structure to get our structure. So chlorine would be like this, as it has 7 valence electrons. Sulfur is similar to oxygen. So it's got 2 lone pairs and two electrons for bonding, or 2 non-paired electrons. And so we're going to get bonds in here. So that all looks good. So now when we draw the actual structure, the bonds and the lone pairs are going to take up a tetrahedral structure. And so the actual structure will look something more similar to this. Where I'm using these wedges to show that they're coming into the page. And it's going to want to keep the lone pairs on chlorine as far away from its own lone pairs. And so this lone pair is going to be going back into the page. And so the whole structure is the entire structure is tetrahedral, including the lone pairs, but the molecular geometry is just including the atoms, not the lone pairs. So this would be bent. But it's always a tetrahedral type structure with a full octet. But you don't include the lone pairs in the molecular structure. The sulfur-chlorine bond is going to be polar. So each of these will be polar towards the chlorines, and so the net dipole will be somewhere in between. And so looking at the structure and knowing that you are going to get some dipole between dissimilar atoms, so sulfur and chlorine are not the same. And chlorine is more electronegative, so you're going to get some dipole from that, and so I would say it's polar. Okay, so polarity is defined as separation of charge. There's a mild dipole between chlorine and sulfur, and it's a bent structure. So there's no symmetry here, so the dipole is not going to cancel, and so we're going to get a dipole. So the solution is correct.